A gift from the Barnstable Land Trust, road changes at the Rotary, and it's time to get your new dog tag on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, May 7th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. The Rotary entrance to Barnstable Municipal Airport will permanently close this Wednesday, that's May 9th. Drivers heading to the airport from the Yarmouth area can access the facility from the Route 28 entrance. From Route 132, drivers can take Addicts Lane to the new Airport Road extension or can access the Airport Road extension from Independence Drive. Crews will soon work to install sidewalks along Airport Road and Barnstable Road. A new traffic signal will also be put in place at the intersection of Addicts Lane and Airport Road. Barnstable Town Council votes unanimously to accept a gift from the Barnstable Land Trust. The trust worked to raise the money to preserve 6.5 acres of land in Centerville. BLT Executive Director Jackie Barton described the land to Town Council Thursday night.
Coombs Bog is 6.55 acres, and the first photograph that I showed you was that vast expanse of cranberry bogs. There are actually 3 cranberry bogs on the property, a shallow pond, and then it's all fringed by upland. And so what you see up here is damselfly. There are tadpoles that I saw them this summer they're bullfrog tadpoles, as big as chickens' eggs, and tree swallows, which are unusual hereabouts. And you can see that it's a really pretty little area. There are existing cart paths on the property. The cart paths were used to access the cranberry bog. They provide a built-in trail system, and most of them are pretty wide, as you can see. And it's a very densely populated neighborhood. The young ladies that are walking around there were not posed. They were walking there. They weren't working with their little machines. They were walking and enjoying nature and probably going from one house to the other. It's not unusual when I walk out there to see young people there, and so it's really exciting for us to see that. The area that we're talking about is the area that's outlined in purple here, and as you can see, it's a very densely populated neighborhood. It also links to 12 acres of land owned by the town of Barnstable that were purchased with the Land Bank Fund. That's the Andrews property to the north. And you can see that 12 acres to the north, and again, the area that is Barnstable Land Trust land now on Fuller's Mill Pond. What you also see is a picture here of an old mill. It was on the back of that, courtesy of the Centerville Historical Museum. It says Uncle Billy Fuller's Mill. So they'll tell you a little bit of something. We don't know where it was. We assume that it was at the southern point of our property, but we do not know that for sure. Turns out there were actually 3 mills on the Bumps River corridor, and this is just one of them. You can also see that there's been an investment by the town. In 1985, the town spent, I think it was $500,000 for the Zamaro property there, which is also on the Bumps River corridor. Oops. Come on. There you go. Oops. That didn't work right. Wait a minute. Here. Let me try this again. Okay. There are 3 little dots that showed up there. Whoops. Now it's going too fast again. Sorry. The first... We'll show you 3 little dots. This is our right-of-way into the property. And then beyond that right-of-way, we have granted to the town of Barnstable an access easement that goes north, well, it's going south to north, into the town-owned land. Our goal here was to make sure that no matter how we manage this property in the future, that there will always be access from the town-owned Andrews property down to Ames Way. We obviously can't give you an easement as well over the right-of-way that we have, but that's how we enter in, and that's how people will continue to be able to always walk there. You can actually do a figure 8 around these bogs, which is kind of fun, but there's poison ivy and phragmites growing in, so we know we have a lot of management to do. So we didn't want to promise that those paths would always be open, but we will promise that this will always stay open. So here's a beautiful picture of it, which is really where the headwaters of the Bumps River begin to well up. And there's 76 acres now protected along the Bumps River corridor, all the way up to the north there and then down to the Centerville River Bridge. The picture of the deer was taken about 2 years ago. They were taken around the Bumps River Road on the Bumps River. So, and I was told just the other day that there's a young set of animals still living in Osterville, so they're probably the same set of deer. And that's it.
The Public Works Department is crafting its comprehensive water management plan. Mark Ells was in attendance at Thursday's meeting to update councilors on an environmental notification filed in relation to that plan.
I think you remember back on February 16th when Phil Boudreau came before you and gave you an overview of where the CAC was on preparing the comprehensive water management plan. Monday, as we had outlined back in February, we have gone forward with filing the ENF, the Environmental Notification Form, with MEPA. You do a joint filing with both MEPA, which is it's an agency at the state, the Mass Environmental Protection, and with the Cape Cod Commission for a DRI review process. That occurred on the 3rd, today, and the notices will be in the newspapers tomorrow. We've posted all of this information on the website. So under boards and committees, under the Citizens Advisory Committee, under reports, you can find all of this information as well as the environmental notification form that's been filed. Now, this is not by any means a final document, and the hopes of Tom having me up here to communicate this, though in itself is an important event, is for the public and certainly all the many stakeholders in our community to watch very carefully as we begin to proceed through this regulatory and very public process. This filing is actually after 2 of the 3 phases are complete. And it's the needs assessment and then a screening of the alternatives. Developing an implementation plan of those alternatives is what's to come next. And in working with the regulators, both at the state and the county level, we found that bringing it forward now, before we enter the 3rd phase, where we actually come forward with a recommended plan, allows for a lot of back and forth between the regulators and the public and us, so that when we go to the next step of a more finalized plan, which also requires a similar process, we're much further along in gathering that information and that input. So what we're doing is encouraging people to take a look at what's on the website. We'll be holding public meetings between now and the end of the month. And basically would be looking to wind this thing up later this year. We'd be looking to move to the final report later in the year. But all of it is subject to the types of comments and dialogue that we have both with the regulators and our public. So if for some reason we would need to extend that to have more dialogue and input, we can certainly do that. So I just encourage you all to look at it, ask questions. It's a lot of information. Whatever you need from us, whether it's formal presentations or through the town manager, certainly answering questions. Our staff and certainly Phil Boudreau and the Citizens Advisory Committee are there to provide whatever we need as we work through this process.
Well, it's almost warm enough to head back to the beach, and soon you'll need a sticker to park at several of the town's beautiful beaches. Stickers are on sale now at the HYCC. You can buy a sticker 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Sundays and holidays from 9 a.m. to noon. Stickers are available for homeowners, residents, landlords, and summer residents. You can also purchase weekly passes. It's also time to renew your dog license. The town clerk's office will begin processing applications for 2012 dog licenses today. All Barnstable dogs must have a new tag by July 1st. When renewing your license or obtaining a new tag, make sure to bring rabies vaccination certificates. Dogs aged 6 months and older must all be licensed in the town of Barnstable. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.